Now, Carl, I know you're fascinated by the concept of the doppelganger, of seeing someone who looks exactly like you.
Yeah.
Jake has emailed in. He says, Carl, if you could spend a day with an exact replica of you, okay, so somehow they've cloned you, Carl, and you've got him for one day, what would you do with this? What would you make him do? What conversation would you have with him? What would you do? Is there anything you could, how would you utilise him for one day?
Well, they'd both say, I'm not bothered, and that'd be the end of conversation.
Yeah.
What would do me head in is, does he think the same way, look the same way,
Exactly the
dresses?
same.
Yeah.
How would I know which one I was?
Because you'd be you.
That's amazing.
No, no,
How would I know which one I
That's
was?
incredible.
No, because...
That is the most stupid thing ever said by a human being. Can we get the Guinness Book of Records on this? Has anyone anywhere in the world said anything more stupid than how would I know which one was me?
But think about it, this other person's going, all right, thanks for meeting up and that. And I go, hang on a minute. No, you came to me. And then Suzanne would come home and she wouldn't know the difference. And then suddenly you'd start doubting yourself. And you go, should I be leaving? Or... So, how do I know if I am that real one, if he knows what I know?
But you know who you are because you're experiencing
But he'd
it.
be saying that because he'd say, yeah, it is a bit weird,
But
isn't
you
it,
know
Owen,
the truth, you idiot.
How would I know which one I was?
So anyway...
But bear in mind,
What would you do?
You could pass him off as yourself.
What would you do? Would you play tricks? Would you,
You could be in two places at once.
Would you do stings? Would you do scams?
No, because it would only end up getting me into trouble, won't it? Because people won't believe that there's another one like me. Otherwise, everyone would be saying that when they get caught robbing. They go, oh, it wasn't me, it was my doppelganger. It can only... I wouldn't want it, to be honest. It's a bit of a headache, isn't it? Because he could be going off, going mental, causing all sorts of trouble, and you're going, will you pack it in? And he's going, what? What are you on about? But then that wouldn't happen, would it? Because he's being me, so he'd be sat wherever I am anyway. Because he'd want to do what I want to do. So, pointless. But I still wouldn't want it.
It's unbelievable.
That was a conversation with himself.
That was amazing.
That was like experiencing what it would have been like if there was two Carls.
Yeah,
He's having a discussion with himself.
We could have left in that time and come back, and he'd be arguing still.
What does this mean? Does this mean, though, that I could just sit at home and not do anything and just send me out on...
Yes.
And when he's seen something happen, I'm seeing it.
No.
You're separate people.
You're separate people.
But then he's not a doppelganger then,
Well,
is he?
you're identical twins then. You found out identical twins and he's got exactly the same input as you. I mean, it's not a real question, is it? It's just a little... Again...
But I said to you the other week about twins and that, how I wouldn't like to have a twin. It's all right when you're a kid, but unless you're a Siamese twin, even they don't even look alike, do they? They're just stuck together. You don't go, oh, don't they look like each other? They have different haircuts. They don't carry that thing on, do they? That normal twins do. Like normal twins, the mums say have the same haircut, wear the same shirt. Siamese twins never look the same. They've just got their arse stuck together.
Again, it's a dialogue in his own head. It's unbelievable. Okay, Carl. This is a logical conundrum. To a certain extent, there's a little bit of lateral thinking because, but there is only one right answer. Now, the pressure here isn't to get this right. The pressure is when I've told you the answer to then understand it. Because when I've explained this to people, I've laid out for them, they still can't quite get the concept. Okay, so there's two doors, Carl.
Yeah.
One leads to heaven, one leads to hell.
Yeah.
Okay, they're identical. You can't tell them apart. Okay, 50-50.
Right.
Obviously, you want to go to heaven, I assume. Right, there's two guards, identical guards, guarding each door. Okay?
Right.
The one guarding hell always tells a lie. The one guarding heaven always tells the truth. You have to ask one question to find out which is which, and then go through the door you want. What question do you ask?
I've only got one.
Yeah.
And what, one to both?
No, one to either of them. You don't know which one's which, though. So what question do you ask?
Why can't I ask, like, both of them one?
Because it's
Because
not
the rules are you can only ask one. There aren't actually two doors labelled heaven and hell, Carl. This is a leap of imagination here.
And I've definitely got to answer. I've got to ask them a question. I can't just sort of have a feel of the door to see if there's any heat or anything.
They're identical. You stand a few yards away. You cannot tell from the outside of these doors which is which. What question do you ask?
I can't look through the keyhole or anything.
There's no
Don't get anywhere
keyhole.
near them.
Um,
Let's imagine there's a small rope that prevents you from getting anywhere near, rather like outside a nightclub.
Yeah.
so they stood there.
Yeah.
They both look the same. They're both smiling,
Yeah.
but one of them's not really smiling. Really, he's trying to make me make a mistake, isn't he?
Well, he's just going to lie when you ask him a question. If you ask him.
So what's the point in asking a question? Do I know one of them's going to lie?
Yeah.
But would they be neighbours like this? Would they be that close? Why?
I mean, we're not sure if these two guys get on.
It's a logical. Well, I'll tell you the answer.
No,
and
no,
then-
no, I want to see if he can get it. He's almost there.
Uh,
No, he's not almost there. What am I thinking?
So-
no, hang on. Right, so you go up and you
Yeah.
go. You
Right,
go,
hang on. Well, look, let's imagine that. Let's imagine Ricky and I are those two guys. Okay, right?
But we have to. Well, me and Steve will decide which doors we're guarding. Okay.
Right.
I'm.
Look away, Carl.
Okay.
Right,
then.
so we've decided. Okay, one of us is guarding hell and one of us is guarding heaven. Which question you're going to ask and who you're going to ask it to?
Right. I'll just say to you, Steve. I'll go. Got some post for God here.
That's not a question. That's a statement.
Right, you've got some posts for God here.
Well, that's not a question.
Yeah, but maybe the
Alright.
question's coming. You got some posts for God here, yeah.
And it needs to be signed.
It's not a question. Still not a question.
No, let
So
him finish. Maybe
is
it's a question.
God in? Because I need him to sign for this post. Is he in?
Well, I can answer that as well if you want.
Go on.
He's in. He's behind my door. Do you want to answer it?
Well,
Yes,
Do you,
he's in.
want, do you want to get him? Just
Well, no, you've only got one question.
So you're asking Steve, is God in? What's the answer?
Yes.
Ask me. Yes.
look, lads. I'm just trying to do a job here. What am I going to do with this?
Well, give it to me and I'll give it to God because he's behind my door. Steve?
Yeah, give it to me and I'll take it into God because he's behind my door.
You're an idiot. Let me tell you the answer. I'm guarding hell, by the way. I'm the devil. Steve's God, okay? So you asked me what Steve would say if you asked him what door he was guarding, and I'm going to lie. I know he'd say heaven because he'd tell the truth, but I'm lying, so he'd say hell. So the question is, if I was to ask the other one what door he was guarding, what would he say? And whatever the person answers is the door they're guarding.
Steve, what door are you looking after?
Well,
Heaven.
yeah.
Why should I believe you?
Because you don't know. No, that doesn't work. Because you asked me the same, and I'd say heaven as well.
Right, so who do I believe? This is where you use your gut feeling, though, isn't it? This is what life's...
Well, as opposed to the pure logic that Ricky's just used.
I just think, because there's a lot of questions in life where you don't know the answer, and you go, do you know what? I don't like the look of him. So,
They're identical.
yeah, but they're still identical twins. You always get a little snidey one.
Well, Rick, you're not the only one who's been away. I know you've been off working, but
Yeah.
I, at long last, have taken a bit of leisure time.
Go on.
And you've probably heard of the Rio de Janeiro Carnival, only one of the hottest events in the world
Oh,
calendar.
yeah.
Imagine me down there.
Oh,
Rio, you can imagine, did not know what hit it.
Oh, God almighty. Imagine, were you like Paul the party animal parker?
He would not have been able to keep up if he was with me.
God, what did you do? What did you get up to?
Oh, let me tell you right now. Day one, I almost drowned. Day two, I got a foot infection and spent the day in the hospital. And the rest of the time, I had diarrhea. So that was a hell of a time.
Carnival.
Yeah. I did. I was able to watch some of the carnival on TV,
Oh,
and it
right.
looked brilliant. It looked
Did it?
amazing. I didn't actually. It was difficult to make out because the TV wasn't actually in my room. Because in an effort to save money, I wasn't staying in a hotel. I was staying with a bunch of other people in some kind of like someone's flat that they'd let out, and so I had to watch the TV like from my window, watching a neighbour's TV. And of course, when they changed the channel, you know, often during the juicy bits, I couldn't see anything. And but it looked really good. I'm bunged up at the moment just so I can get through the show. But I've just been on a 12-hour flight, and it is terrifying being on a flight when you know that any moment you could go. Because you know how the problem is sometimes the toilet's free and sometimes you've got to queue up. And the worst bit is that sort of half an hour just before you land when they say the toilets are out of bounds now. I'd say I went twice before that in quick succession. The woman sat next to the toilet. She didn't know what was going on, the noises and stuff in there, and because I was really panicky.
Oh, Christ.
And so of course then on the whole flight, as we're landing, I'm really petrified because I'm thinking I packed a pair of underpants and jeans in the bag in the holdall, just in case it all went. And I was really, because I hate flying anyway, and I hate landing because it's the most terrifying moment of the journey. Then it really was rumbling, and I was thinking, I got to get out of here. Of course, you know when you're in a hurry, everything makes you angry. The little old lady in front of me who's just hobbling along off the gangplank.
Yeah.
You know, just really annoying.
With your bad hips and your bad
and
legs.
your Zimmer frame.
I know you've been through a war, but get out of my way.
Yeah. And just anyone who kind of even passes you, and so I managed to get there just in time, got into and it all went off. Man alive, it was grim.